Hello, hello, hello. I'm back. I know that it has been a minute, about a week and a half, since I recorded an episode, and I just want to do a little life update before we get started. So, first and foremost, as you can tell, I'm in a new location. I have moved home. I am home at my parents' house for 6 weeks until my apartment in Chicago is ready for me. And this is my childhood bedroom. It looks a little different than it did when I lived in here, but nonetheless, this is where my teenage years were spent. It's honestly really nice to be home. I've spent most of my time in Atlanta still. I kind of go back and forth, but nonetheless, it's really nice. I get to spend a lot of time with my mom. I get to see my dad, so nice. And honestly, just feeling really blessed that I, have parents that are in a position to be able to have me come home and be in this transition phase in a place that I'm comfortable, and it's all good things. I am ready to be back in my space, but nonetheless, happy to be here. So it did take me a minute to kind of find a place to even record these episodes. My mom has really high ceilings in her house, and it was echoing so bad everywhere I went. So trial and error, we ended up here. And I hope, if you've watched my channel, I hope that you can tell that we've got a little better camera quality going on. You want to know why? I did something I swore I wouldn't do. I swore that I was not going to buy this camera unless it was on a Prime Day sale. And then Amazon Prime Day came and it wasn't on sale and I bought it anyways. I bought the Nikon Z30 and it is absolutely fire. I mean, look at this camera quality. It's so good. I've been wanting to upgrade my camera game for a while now, and I just kept talking myself out of it, but I was like, you know what? If I want this channel and this podcast to be as good as I want it to be, then I have got to get a camera that is on par with the rest of the world. So here we are. I am no longer shooting on a webcam. I am now officially on a Z30 with a Shure microphone. Amazing. Also, last week I went to Chicago. So I moved into my parents' house 2 weekends ago, and then I spent last week in Chicago. So it's been a whirlwind, to say the least. But it was so nice going to Chicago. I got to see my apartment for the first time. Beautiful. It's a teeny little studio, but the neighborhood that it's in and just the location, I mean, I am on the lake. The view from my rooftop is insane. It's so pretty. I was warned that I am in potentially the coldest part of the city come winter because I'm literally right on top of the lake, and apparently the wind just whooshes off of the lake. So that'll be painful, to say the least. But I was there during summer and it was absolutely stunning, and I'm super freaking excited. I can't wait to get there. It was just nice. I spent time on the river. I went to dinner with friends. It was a good little segue into moving there. And then I spent an incredible weekend with my friends, had a going away party for 2 of my other friends that are moving away. There's 8 of us moving out of Atlanta this summer, which is absolutely wild, but had a going away party for them this past weekend, and it was so fun. So I have been MIA, but for good reason. Life has been a little hectic for the last 2 weeks. And when I was in Chicago, it got me thinking about kind of the direction that I'm going with the podcast and just content in general. And I know that I just made this podcast a daily episode podcast, but when I was in Chicago, I really got the urge and the gut feeling that I need to do more lifestyle content on YouTube and TikTok, and it's something that I've always wanted to get into, but I guess I've always felt a little bit nervous about doing it because I know vlogging and stuff like that is so different from just talking head videos like this, but it's something that I really want to get into. So I think I'm going to be scaling back the number of episodes, definitely at least an episode a week for right now. But I also want to sprinkle in some vlogs and lifestyle content on my YouTube channel because that is content that I like to watch. It's content that I like to create, and I want to start making it for the channel. So, new things to come. But while I was in Chicago and really like over the last couple weeks, I've had this topic on my mind. And I've had this topic on my mind because I feel like I have gone through post breakup clarity. Like I feel like for the first time in my 20s, I can like see my past relationships for exactly what they were. And I know a lot of that has to do with the work that I've been doing on myself and the self-confidence that I've been building and the self-respect that I've been building. I don't think I was able to see it in the past because I don't think that I respected myself or thought that I deserved anything more than what I was currently getting. And that's all changed. So I've gone through a little bit of post-breakup clarity, and I want to talk today about mixed signals. Actually, I want to talk today about the fact that there are no such thing as mixed signals. It has taken me 27 years, a 7-year-long off and on toxic relationship, and 6 months of working on myself and working on my self-confidence to truly understand, trust, and believe that there is no such thing as mixed signals. Now, I have been in an assortment of situationships and relationships in my 20s, and honestly, I can say that pretty much all of them were riddled with mixed signals. And again, I think so much of my accepting these mixed signals or turning a blind eye to these mixed signals had so much to do with my own personal lack of self-confidence and self-respect. And I want to dive into some of the biggest ones that now that I look back on, I'm like, girl, what were you doing? That is embarrassing. But it's okay. It's okay. I've learned my lessons, and now I want to talk to y'all about them. So I've got 8 that I want to talk about today, and I feel like they're so relatable, whether you're a guy or a girl. First and foremost, if you talk to this person often, but they rarely make plans to hang out in person, red freaking flag. Y'all, I spent so much of my 20s essentially begging to spend quality time with a person that I really, really liked. I am such a lover girl. Like when I'm really into you, I like to spend my time with you. Like you're my best friend. You're the person that I enjoy hanging out with the most. And so often I was in situations where we talked all the time, whether it be on the phone, whether it be text messaging, whether it be FaceTime. But when it came to actually making plans to hang out, it was like pulling freaking teeth. And y'all, the reality is that if they want to hang out with you, they will hang out with you. I mean, I think about me on the flip side of the situation, right? Like when I really, really like someone, I will damn near drop everything to spend time with them. I will rearrange my schedule. I will drive to where I need to drive to. You can come hang out with my friends. Like, I just want to be around you. I like you. I want to be around you. I want to do things with you. I want to make memories with you. And so often I was giving that energy, but I wasn't getting it back in return. And I let it happen over and over and over again. I mean, the amount of conversations that I had where I was literally begging, can we please hang out? Why are we not hanging out? Why am I never a priority? And that brings me to point number 2. If they prioritize everyone else over you, that is not okay. This one really, really, really took me a while to sink my teeth into because I can be the type of person in a relationship that is arguably a little too understanding. Like, yeah, okay, you miss your friends, you haven't seen your friends, go hang out with your friends. It's totally fine. I'm a chill girl. Like, it's cool. Go hang out with them. Oh, you've been with your family for the past 5 days. You just went on vacation with them, but now you got to do this, that, and the other, and I can't be a part of it. That's okay. It's your family. Go do it. No. No. There comes a point in time where you have to feel like you are a priority in their life. There were times where I literally had the conversation with someone that I felt like I was the lowest man on the totem pole over and over and over again. Like I had this same conversation over and over and over again, and I never did anything about it. I just bitched. I bitched and I bitched and I bitched, but I didn't force the behavior to change. I just kept being mad about it. When they're sitting there and showing me that they don't plan to make me a priority, they don't ask me to hang out with their friends. And that brings me to point number 3. If you are being kept a secret in any way, shape, or form, whether it is casual or it is a relationship, it doesn't matter. You are to never be kept a secret. A person should feel absolutely honored to be with you. Like that is the energy that we need to bring into our lives, okay? And this really, 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 I think for so long, I so badly wanted to be the chill girl, the girl that didn't get mad about things, that just lets stuff go. Like they're gonna like me more if I'm just like the chill girl, not the girl that bitches. Like it's fine. Or the amount of times that I allowed a past relationship to say, well, we're not dating, so we don't need to like mingle our friendships. We don't need to mingle our lives, or it's a boys' night. Like there's not going to be any girls there. There were girls there. The amount of times that I let that happen, and the amount of times that I allowed myself to only be hung out with at night. No, embarrassing. Embarrassing. The amount of times that I allowed someone that I cared so much about to like go out and like have a night with their friends and have a fun with their friend group, knowing that I was having a chill night or whatever it may be. And then they would hit me up at the end of the night to come hang out. No, absolutely not. I allowed it to happen, but absolutely not. We must accept the fact that we deserve to feel important. We deserve to feel like people are proud to be with us. Are you proud to be with that person? Do you want that person to mingle with your friend group? Do you want that person to be a part of your life like that? If the answer is yes, then that should be what you want in return. And we shouldn't be accepting anything less than that. Inconsistency and unavailability, y'all. This was the entirety of my 20s. I mean, I have there's been one relationship where I will say that this person actually showed up and was consistent and wanted me, but it also was toxic in its own very toxic way. But inconsistency and unavailability is something that I have dealt with quite literally every day of every relationship that I've ever been in, okay? If they are constantly unavailable, if they are constantly too busy, if they are constantly like, oh, well, we can hang out here, or no, now I have plans, or you talk to them for a week and then they disappear for 3 days, or whatever it may be, if they are constantly unavailable and constantly inconsistent, the reality of the situation is that you are not a priority and they just don't want to. Okay? It is a very harsh reality, and I know that some of this may sound really harsh, but this situation is harsh because honestly, all that's happening is you're wasting your time on someone that doesn't value you in the same way that you value them. And all of this is saying that if you would give this other person this type of energy, then that is the energy that they should be giving back to you. Okay? Actions speak louder than words. Oh my gosh. My past relationship was so much of words, words, words. I mean, we talked all the time, but the actions rarely backed up the words. I love words of affirmation. It's one of my favorite love languages. It means a lot to me. I want to hear how much you love me. I want to hear what you think about me. I want to hear that praise 100%. But quality time is 100% my number one love language. So you can tell me you love me. You can tell me you want to be with me. You can tell me all of these sweet nothings all day long. But if you don't show up and show out when we're together, it literally doesn't matter. Because if they wanted to, they would. And that is probably the hardest reality of all of this, is that if they wanted to, they would. And they're not. I'm like a light PDA person. I don't mind showing affection in public. I know that some people, it really, really, really gives them the ick. But I think for the most part, like light PDA is appreciated. Hold my hand, give me hugs, rub, like whatever it may be. I don't want to be Courtney and Travis. Like, don't be making out with me in front of the real estate agent and in front of the kids at the dinner table. I don't want all that. But if they show you not an ounce of affection in public, you're being kept private. It just is what it is. If we're out at a bar and like they kind of shy away when you come up, or last weekend, oh my God, y'all, last weekend, I literally saw a guy that I know, this girl that he has been talking to, essentially dating, but he refuses to put a title on it. That's the next point I'm going to make. He has been talking to this girl for nearly 2 years, and this girl comes up to him at the bar. They leave to go home together, and as they're walking away, she goes to grab his hand and he pulls it away. This is what I'm talking about, okay? This guy has been talking to her for 2 years. She adores him. She would spend all of her time with him if she could, but he won't even hold her hand as they're walking out of a bar. Like, I feel for her because I've been her. I know exactly how that feels when you go and touch the small of their back, or you go to give them a hug and they like shy away a little bit. You go to grab their hand, they yank it away. The flirting in public is like non-existent. They don't spend their time with you at the bar or at the restaurant. I've been there. It's a really shitty feeling, and it'll really have you like second guessing yourself. It'll make you feel crazy. It'll make you feel really crazy because you'll be sitting there like, what is going on? Like, I just want to show this person a little bit of affection, and they're so affectionate to me in private, but why can't they even be like an ounce of affectionate to me in public? Like, are you hiding me? Yes. I think it's a much smaller percentage of people that genuinely hate PDA on any type of level versus people that are okay with light PDA and showing of affection in public. Super small touches of affection just let you know that like that person's there and that person's thinking about you, and that even when you're in a room of other people, like their eyes are still with you. And it's such a good feeling. And I swear to God, I fought for it for years from someone that was so much more than super casual. And here I am getting that from someone that is super casual, no strings attached, chilling. And I fought for that for years in a relationship. Okay. And here's a good one. Okay. This has been the story of my life for my entire 20s. If you feel a pit in your stomach, uncomfortably scared and anxious to have the what are we conversation, red freaking flag. Y'all, I used to feel like I used to write 15 different messages in my notes anytime that I wanted to bring up this topic, or anytime I would literally script it in my head of like multiple different ways that the conversation could go, because I was so, I don't even want to say scared. I think I knew in the back of my head what the answer was going to be, and I knew that it wasn't the answer that I wanted it to be, and I wanted to prepare myself. But when you have been with someone and you have started to really spend time with them and you're talking to them all of the time, I mean, you're essentially in a relationship with them, right? When you're at that point, it should not feel anxiety ridden to have this conversation. And if it does feel anxiety, like super anxiety ridden to have this conversation, it's probably not going to be the outcome that you want, and or it just shouldn't feel like that. The person should give you a level of reassurance to let you know that they are also walking through the same door that you are. And for so long, I was incapable of noticing that we were never walking through the same door. I was always 2, 3 doors ahead of them. And it's like I knew it deep down in my stomach. I knew it. That's why the anxiety was so high, but I refused to accept it. And I think that that's the crazy part about these situations, these toxic relationships, or just mixed signal relationships, is that it's so easy to see from the outside looking in. I mean, I know as a friend that's been watching other relationships like this, and I know from my friends' own perspectives on my relationships that I've had like this, it is so easy to tell from the outside looking in. But when you are in it, it is like you are so blinded. Rose-colored glasses is such a real thing. And like I said, I think that so much of my personal taking on of this kind of mixed signals and toxic relationships really had to do with my lack of self-confidence and self-respect and understanding and belief in what I deserved in a relationship. And I know how scary it is to set expectations and hold a person to them. Boundaries are so incredibly difficult. And it's a skill that you have to learn, and so much of it comes from having boundaries with yourself. How you show up for yourself, how you show respect to yourself. If you can get that going, if you can raise the bar on your own standards for yourself and how you treat yourself, your bar will begin to raise for every other type of relationship in your life. And I mean that. I know how scary it is to set these expectations, okay? But you truly have nothing to lose, because if they don't hold up their end of the bargain, time to cut it off, and you're not wasting more of your time, right? But if you set these expectations and they meet them, then this could open up a whole new door for your relationship. But I think such an important part of this is to not get tied up in the outcome. You just have to lay out the level of respect and boundaries that you have for yourself. And if people meet them, then they meet them. And if they don't, then they don't. And it is so much easier said than done, especially when you have real, honest feelings for someone, because you feel like setting these expectations is going to be the nail in the coffin. And when it's healthy and when it's right and when it's mutually felt between two people, expectations, boundaries, and limits are never going to be too much for the other person, because they respect you as much as you respect yourself. And that took me a long time to understand. I think the biggest lesson that I have learned from these kind of relationships over the years is that people treat you exactly how you allow them to treat you. You got to stop reaching, stop overanalyzing, stop dissecting. If it is not explicitly clear that they want to be with you, and not just with their words, but with their actions, if it is not explicitly clear what they want and that they want to be with you, they don't want to be. Or they don't know what they want, and you don't have time for that either. Clear. We want clarity. If you are giving clarity, then you need to expect clarity back. Okay? I think that, as much as a lot of people, myself included, don't want to admit it, you probably know deep down that it's not working. You probably know that it's not fair, and you probably know that it's not going anywhere. But you think that if you just hold on a little bit longer, if you just try a little bit harder, if you change something about yourself or change something about them, then it'll change and it'll work. And I'm here to tell you that it won't. And it won't, because the only thing that you have control over is yourself. You cannot control how another person feels. You cannot control how another person shows up in a relationship. You cannot control the place that another person is at in their life. All you can control is you and what you want and how you show up and where you are in your life. And if you are giving the energy that you wish to receive, then you need to expect that out of the other person. And if they're not willing to give it, then you got to keep it moving. because you truly do not have the time to waste. Your heart does not deserve another heartbreak. And honestly, as we get older, the more baggage that you take on, the more that you have to unpack in every relationship that you step into. So do future you a favor, take a step back, evaluate from a bird's eye view of the relationship that you're in, and do a little self-check. Is this what I want? Is this what I deserve? If it is, I love it. Keep it going. I love. But if it's not, check yourself. Check your self-respect. Check your self-worth. Are you getting from the other person what you are giving to them? If you are not, time to move on. Okay? I know that it's so much easier said than done, and trust me, you are talking to the queen of shitty relationships, toxic relationships, and situationships. And I am making a conscious effort moving forward to change this in my life. I do not want the same energy that I've been receiving for the last 7 years. I don't want it. I want someone that treats me how I treat them, loves me how I love them, shows up for me, and wants just me. That is what I'm looking for. And I really feel like for the first time in my adult dating life, I really feel like this is the first time that I've been in a position to expect it, demand it, and be open to it. Like, I actually think that I have space in my life, space in my mental capacity to accept that energy and accept that relationship because I've done the work on myself. And now I just have to remain true to myself and show up for myself and respect myself enough to wait for it, to wait for the right one, to be eyes wide open and take off the rose-colored glasses. Your girl's got to leave the rose-colored glasses in Atlanta, okay? Those glasses are not coming with me. They're staying right there. And I'm excited. I'm excited for the future. And I want to hear some of y'all's biggest red flag mixed signals. I've experienced so many, and I know that there are so many out there. There's so many different types of relationships out there in the world. I want to hear your red flag mixed signal relationship ordeals. Okay, so drop me some comments, leave me a DM on Instagram. If you don't already follow the podcast on Instagram, it's allhappening.pod. Follow me personally, Madeline Hewitt, on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. As always, please be sure to like, follow, share, rate, comment, subscribe, do all of the things. I'll see you back next week.